Okay, hello, Sam. Uh, can you state your full name for me, please?
Samantha Soriano.
Okay, Sam, thank you for coming and interviewing me for this mock uh, teacher interview for my class, for class um, ED684 in Arcadia University. First, I want to say that the interview is a role play and that permission to record has been obtained,
Yes, I grant my
have
permission.
been granted. Thank you, thank you, thank you. First questions, jump right into this. First question, first of all, it's a mock Zoom interview. You're playing the role of a teacher. I'm playing the role of a interviewer to get more insight on a particular student to make up a name, and then I got to present that as assignment. First question, uh, give me the specific student name, concerns, classroom setup, like position, the chair, etc., and any past issues with the child.
Yeah, so my student Jaden Johnson, he's been in our class for a bit. We have a ratio of 11 total students, including Jaden. And with myself as the main teacher, there's also a teacher's aide in the classroom. So our main concern with him is typically eloping, also a huge lack of focus. So a lot of times he just demonstrates a lot of distracting, moving around in his chair, not remaining within his seated area. And at times when he's gotten frustrated, he has flipped a desk and a chair or two, but he usually doesn't aggress towards others.
Good, great. Strengths of the student in classroom and goals and aspirations, desires for the child in the short and long term.
So what I've observed with Jaden was that he's very good when we're one to one with him. So if the aide is with him or if I'm with him asking him questions and walking him through a worksheet, he's very capable of answering everything and he seems very motivated. However, when we're doing group instruction or we're not directly there with him, he is typically moving around, running around the classroom. I would really love to see a lot more participation, especially in group activities where he typically struggles. And I would love to see a little more attention so that he can follow through with at least a few more questions in a row. Typically, he'll do one question, wiggle around, get into something else, and it's very hard for him to complete 5 questions in a row. So I would really hope that he'd be able to complete at least half of a worksheet independently.
Next question. Great job. Look at you on the ball. Strategies previously used. What might get in the way of the goals and desires, share goals, and next step?
So typically in the classroom, when we first got him in as a student, we weren't too aware of his elopement. So we did have his desk close to the door, which wasn't such a great rules, which wasn't such a great position for him. So we did move his desk over to the other side of the classroom, but that hasn't really seemed to stop much. He still is making his way over there. Now it's just a few more feet away. So I would love to have a bit more assistance with that so that we can get him to stay in his seat or a seated area for a bit longer. We do typically use a classroom reward system of treasure box at the end of the day, but right now he's not seeming too motivated by that anymore since he has missed out on a lot of opportunities to get treasure box. So he's not too concerned.
So what is the importance of focus with the child?
I really want him to be able to just really show his academic strengths. I know that he has them in there, so I want him to be able to express himself a bit more if he is struggling with something, so we know that we can help him and not that it's just that he's bored or doesn't want to do it. And I really want him to be able to showcase his abilities because it's very hard to gauge where he's at academically when we're not getting completed work.
And what have already been tried? Point out strengths from what has already worked to be used later and coming up with a plan.
He does typically respond pretty well to extended recess time. He does really enjoy that. However, when we do minimize his access to recess, he does tend to flip some desks and engage in some property destruction, which is not the best here, especially around other kids. But definitely more access to breaks and recess has been a very strong motivator for him. And he's been able to, with that, we've been able to get a little more cooperation in group project settings. Um, so that has been our greatest accomplishment with him.
And the last question, discuss the rationale for collecting information.
So typically we'll write down some stuff. We'll send home notes in the agenda to caregivers, and we'll give a summary, brief summary about the day, along with a smiley face, a meh kind of face, or a frowning face, depending on how great his day has been or how many behaviors he's exhibited during that day. So that's pretty much what we've been doing. I'll also make phone calls to parents to let them know if anything really serious has gone on or if there has been any meltdowns that have lasted for quite some time, that have been really disruptive to our classroom. But other than that, that's pretty much our main way of making a collecting data on him, since we have other students to look out for.
Great job. Well, I thank you for your patience in answering my question. I think I fulfilled my requirement for the assignment. So again, thank you.